Miley Cyrus, like many other ex-Disney child stars and their handlers in the music industry, gained the trust of millions of parents and young children through her show Hannah Montana, only to betray them and lead them down the broad road to drugs, sexual perversion, and the occult. Tragically, many have followed the ex-Disney child star Miley Cyrus into incredibly vulgar behavior. Even the popular Billboard magazine said of Miley Cyrus's record-setting video, We Can't Stop, which became the fastest video to ever reach 100 million views across Vivo platforms, that the We Can't Stop music video is, quote, subversive, mesmerizing, unhinged. Subversion is defined by Princeton's WorldNet Web Dictionary as, quote, corruption, destroying someone's or some group's honesty or loyalty, undermining moral integrity, corruption of a minor. While in the past, contributing to the delinquency of minors was against the law, today the music industry and mainstream media seem to relish in corrupting innocent children and see it as their evil duty, with Miley Cyrus and hundreds of others doing their bidding. Tragically, Miley Cyrus is just the latest in a long line of human train wrecks that Disney has produced. Besides those whom Disney exploits and abuses like pimps do prostitutes, are the countless children who have been destroyed by emulating their Disney role models and following them into drugs, sexual perversion, and self-destruction. Millions were revolted and disgusted by Miley Cyrus's scandalous X-rated VMA performance of her song We Can't Stop before a huge national audience. She went from what Time magazine described as her, quote, hair twist devil horns and flesh-colored latex bikini, end quote, to shameless crotch grabs, to her in-your-face simulation of masturbation on herself and on the perverted Robin Thicke, who is nearly twice her age, whom the New York Times claims she was, quote, molesting, end quote. On top of that, Miley Cyrus was wagging her protruding tongue like she was having a seizure or was some desperate hound dog in a hot car. Add to those sad realities that Miley Cyrus was relentlessly twerking her rear end more shamelessly than a baboon in heat. Miley Cyrus dragged millions of her fans into the moral cesspool of filth and didn't let them out until they were gagging, and many of them were left scarred for life. Even many other Hollywood celebrities, most of which are far from paragons of virtue, were repulsed and disgusted by her performance. You know, there are serious problems when the ex-Disney star Miley Cyrus out-sleazes Lady Gaga for the Queen of the Obscene at the VMA Awards. Even potty-mouthed Bill Maher compared Miley's performance to his trips to a strip club. Yahoo reported that Miley, quote, made every rude, crude gesture imaginable, end quote. And another stated that he may have gotten a sexually transmitted disease from just watching the performance. Actress Brooke Shields, who appeared as Miley's mother on Hannah Montana, said on the Today Show that she disapproved with what Cyrus and her handlers had done, and it was not appropriate for children.
I was Hannah Montana's mother. I don't approve. I just sort of want to know who's advising her and why it's necessary. My 7-year-old, your 6-year-old, my 10-year-old, they can't watch that. They can't watch that. No.
Sadly, it's too late for millions of children who tuned into the VMA Awards to see their child hero. Hopefully this was a wake-up call to those same parents to monitor what their children are watching so that they are not heartbroken later when they are found mimicking their role models. Brooke Shields went on to talk about how pop icons are getting more and more sleazy and, quote, the ante keeps upping.
I think it's just, the ante keeps upping. The ante keeps upping.
While many are rightly condemning Miley Cyrus's perverted performance for polluting today's youth, many are ignoring the fact that Robin Thicke, who performed with her at the VMA Awards, is just as culpable. Thicke, who is old enough to be Miley's father, looked like a pedophile simulating sex and rubbing himself all over with a very young-looking Miley Cyrus. The lines between right and wrong got even blurrier when they performed what many have called Thicke's promotion of a rape song entitled Blurred Lines. In his own unrated video for the same song, Thicke and other men are sharply dressed while women are totally naked and treated like sex slaves, while they are told, you're an animal. Thicke sings, quote, I know you want it, end quote, and about being a pimp, getting her blasted, slapping her, pulling her hair, and then violently tearing her in two. Thicke was quoted as saying this about the Blurred Lines video to GQ, quote, people say, hey, do you think it's degrading to women? I'm like, of course it is. What a pleasure it is to degrade a woman, end quote. Thicke also admitted, and I quote, we try to do everything that was taboo, bestiality, drug injections, and everything that is completely derogatory towards women, end quote. The sick irony is that Thicke and Miley's Hollywood handlers are exploiting and prostituting the young Miley to make millions of dollars off the gullible public. For many, Miley Cyrus has simultaneously become the poster girl for the glorification of sexual abuse and exploitation of herself and others. Sadly, Miley Cyrus's blockbuster video, We Can't Stop, is even more subversive because it targets very young fans by combining her once seemingly innocent bubblegum image as Hannah Montana with a 3.5-minute overbearing sensory assault of sexual perversion, drugs like cocaine and ecstasy, and violence upon millions of vulnerable and easily exploited children. Cyrus and her video director cleverly pull off this subversive cognitive dissonance by reaching out to the very young and portraying Cyrus as innocent by dressing her in white, playing with her bubblegum, and showing her dancing with giant teddy bears. They then flip the script by promoting destructive Class 1 illegal drugs like cocaine and ecstasy, as though fluffy teddy bears and deadly drugs can all go together and are part and parcel of a healthy and happy life. Tragically, while grieving parents, friends, and relatives try to warn young people of the dangers of drugs like ecstasy and cocaine, celebrities like Miley Cyrus are drowning out their voices as they feed into the lie and glorify ecstasy and cocaine as though they are the way to a happy life. It's undeniable that Miley Cyrus is inspiring youth to turn to illegal and deadly drugs. One guy named Eric wrote an article he posted on the internet on June 27th after listening repeatedly to Miley's drug reference to ecstasy in her song We Can't Stop, claiming that Miley's song was the main inspiration that caused him to decide to break the law and use ecstasy. Eric wrote, quote, "I think Miley Cyrus has convinced me to try ecstasy. What a weird thing to admit. I'd probably be ashamed of myself if I had this revelation years or even months before, but oddly enough, I am completely content with the notion that tween idol Miley Cyrus has convinced me to try ecstasy," end quote. Not surprisingly, due to Miley's evil influence, countless young children are not only twerking their rear ends, but countless young people are tweaking on dangerous drugs. Since Miley's promotion of the deadly drugs, ecstasy and cocaine, there has been a sharp rise of death by Molly. In fact, in September of 2013, the annual New York City Music Festival was canceled after concertgoers died due to ecstasy use. In states like Virginia, 3 people died within a week. And sadly, young people are dropping like flies throughout the United States of America. Deadly drugs are becoming more and more of a heartbreaking epidemic among young people as Miley Cyrus and various other artists continue to promote ecstasy and other drugs in the music industry. After Miley Cyrus was depicted as shamelessly riding a wrecking ball, totally naked in one of her latest videos, impressionable students at Grand Valley State University in Allendale, Michigan, mimicked her by riding a sculpted wrecking ball, often going naked just as the naked Cyrus does in her video. This problem became so bad that the wrecking ball had to be removed by the university. Now, while nobody will probably die because of getting on a wrecking ball because Miley did, countless young children will wreck their lives. And many die, however, because of the deadly drugs, Molly and cocaine, that Miley is promoting. In a recent interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Miley went so far as to say that America has weird morals and complained because the F word gets bleeped out on television. And she even went so far as to complain that MTV had to bleep out her reference to ecstasy or Molly at the VMA Awards. This is especially tragic because Miley has to know that these deadly drugs are illegal because they're responsible for the death of countless adults and young people. In yet another news story on the rash of recent deaths due to Molly, it stated, quote, "Molly has made its way into popular culture, helped by references to it made by entertainers such as Madonna, Miley Cyrus, and Kanye West." The article goes on to say that in some states there has been a 100-fold increase the combined number of arrests, seizures, emergency room mentions, and overdoses between 2009 and 2012, according to DEA figures. In 2011, the article goes on to say the most recent year on record, there were 22,498 such visits, end quote. God only knows how many thousands of young people Miley Cyrus will have influenced with cocaine, ecstasy, and other drugs, and how many lives will be destroyed. Notice that Miley Cyrus, whether wittingly or not, is echoing Satanist Aleister Crowley's satanic philosophy of do what thou wilt and applying it to sexuality. Miley's song tragically claims that one can, quote, screw, end quote, anyone they want, leaving the idea open that one can have sex with anything that moves. If this is the case, where does one draw the line? So Miley would have her impressionable young fans believe, in the words of her own song, that they can screw whoever they want. Really, Miley? Does that mean that one is responsible enough to portray themselves as a sexualized child, or that an adult can have sex with children? Or does screwing whoever you want also include that one can have sex with an animal, as Robin Thicke, who was in your VMA performance, portrays a gal with in his video for Blurred Lines? Or does having sex with whoever you want also include having sex with a big baby? Obviously not, Miley. God has drawn lines for good reasons regarding human sexuality. If you don't think that Miley and other celebrities are having a horrible effect on children and their sexuality, you don't understand what other celebrities do. Here, rock star Billy Joel speaks of the subversive power of music upon young people as far back as the 50s.
You know, all those things they were saying about rock and roll in the early days, saying, oh, it's going to subvert our youth, it's going to make them all want to have sex, it's going to make them all go crazy. They were right. They were right. They were right. They were right.
The heartbreaking and horrific consequences of sexual expression outside the protective and beautiful guidelines of God's word between one man and one woman is like taking fire out of one's fireplace and allowing it to climb up the walls of their house. Sexual sin often brings the onslaught of a host of sexually transmitted diseases. God himself warns throughout his word that, quote, he who sins sexually sins against his own body. Sadly, with the sexual revolution, there has been an epidemic of all kinds of sexually transmitted diseases. Many of these diseases will hinder sexual pleasure itself, and some of them will even cause sterility and death. Tragically, the lie of perverse sexual license to have sex with anyone and anything has actually brought sexual bondage and even destroyed sexuality. This also tragically leads to unwanted children and the mass murder of innocents through abortion. Already in our own country, the U.S., we have murdered over 55 million innocent babies in the abortion holocaust since the Crowleyan sexual revolution of the 60s. In the 1960s, Crowley's counterculture revolution, the hippie movement, and his phrase, do what thou wilt, became do your own thing, and if it feels good, do it. Now in the 21st century, with even Miley Cyrus, we can do whatever we want, and we can screw whoever we want. Of course, Miley is only one pawn in Satan's larger scheme to destroy human souls. Miley Cyrus's father, actor and singer Billy Ray Cyrus, who starred alongside his daughter in Hannah Montana, claimed that the Disney show Hannah Montana destroyed his family. He said, quote, it destroyed my family. I'll tell you right now, the blank show destroyed my family, end quote. After Miley was setting yet another horrible example and publicly shown smoking the hallucinogenic drug salvia, her father, Billy Ray Cyrus, reportedly told GQ magazine, my family is under attack by Satan, and that he's scared for his daughter Miley. Billy Ray Cyrus claimed that Miley's handlers, quote, used me every time, end quote, to do damage control with every scandal that arose, including pole dancing disgrace, the Vanity Fair scandal, and when they published the pedophilic pictures portraying the underage Miley nude under her bedsheet. Billy Ray claimed that Miley's handlers in the industry wanted to continue to use him with future scandals, including drug use, saying that her, quote, daddy endorsed this stuff, and, quote, they'd be hanging it on my blank. Billy Ray claimed to be scared for her because, quote, some of these handlers are perhaps more interested in handling Miley's money than her safety. While Billy Ray Cyrus is certainly responsible for the decisions that he made with his daughter and complicity in past cover-ups, Miley's handlers have used Miley like a puppet. However, they are in turn puppets as well, being used by the satanic forces that Billy Ray acknowledges are existing and working in Miley's life. Billy Ray Cyrus is not oblivious to the dark satanic forces pulling the strings behind the scenes of his family's demise. The New York Daily Post reported, quote, Billy Ray didn't place all the blame on those handlers currently in Miley's life. There are also evil forces at work, he claimed, end quote. Billy Ray seems to have encountered these dark powers firsthand. He stated, quote, somewhere along this journey, both mine and Miley's faith have been shaken, he said. That saddens me the most. Billy Ray argued that his family is now being ruined by Satan. Quote, no doubt, he insisted, there's no doubt about it, end quote.